Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are starting another reading vlog. So this is a little bit of a continuation of a little bit of a vlog series that I did last year, which I ended up giving up on. Whoops. So basically last year I think I only ended up doing two. I was supposed to do more, but I failed. And that was reading my past book hauls, and I did ish like the quarters. So I did January to March. I read all of the books that I had read the previous January's to Marches, and I did the same May to July, and then after that it fell to pieces and I didn't do it anymore. And so this year we're bringing it back, but instead of doing it by the months, we're actually going to do it by years. And so this is number one. And so number one, we're going back to the oldest books on my physical TBR, and that is 2021, which isn't too bad. I usually maybe the year before. I very rarely have books on my TBR for like 3 years, so I would like to clear some of these off. Some of these will not be cleared off. I have 7 books that are still on my TBR from 2021, which is not great, but we're gonna try and get 3 ticked off in this. So I already know the 3, but I will just quickly say all of the books that are on that list. So the first 2 and the ones that I will not be reading, I'm pretty sure these are actually the oldest ones, because I'm pretty sure these are from like May of 2021, whereas the others are from like November, December 2021. So these are actually the ones that should be getting read first. But that is Kingsbane, A Lightbringer by Claire Legrand, and I'm really thinking that I'm getting to the point where I might just unhaul these. And like the thing is, I've only ever unhauled one book that I haven't read, and that was the last book in the Bone Ships series by R.J. Barker, because I literally could not read that. I literally couldn't. I could not do it. I read about 50 pages, like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm out. And I liked the first book. I liked Furyborn, but I read that in 2021, I'm pretty sure, and I have forgotten everything in that, and so I would have to reread it. And I don't really want to reread it. I don't have any kind of like inclination to do that, but in order to continue, I would need to reread it, and so I keep putting these off and off. I think if I get to the end of the year and I haven't either continued or reread the first one, it's time to just get rid of them. Next one that I hauled was in November of 2021, and that was Malice by John Gwynne, and I will be reading it in this video. This is like 600 pages long, so that might be why I was putting it off for so long, because I have heard great things about this, so I do want to read it. The pages are really yellow from sun damage. Woo. So I do want to read this. I know it has something to do with a prophecy, and I do really want to read it, but it does scare me a little. That I got were Fool's Quest and Assassin's Fate. So I started reading The Realm of Elrond in 2020, March of 2020. Remember that. Because I was reading them with Catch Up Book Club, and I kept on top of it the whole way through, right until Fool's Assassin. And that was when I was in the slump. The life slump, book slump, every kind of slump. I was not having a good time, and I ended up falling behind. I was like, no, I'll catch up. So I missed Fool's Quest, and I was like, it's fine, I'll just read the 2 of them before the last live show. And then I didn't do that, and then they sat and they sat and they sat, and now, like, here's the thing, I still remember everything that happened in Fool's Assassin, so I have no problems continuing, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid, because I know, like, I don't know, but I know what's gonna happen, and I don't want that. If I don't read it, it doesn't happen. It's not true. So yeah, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read Fool's Quest. The last 2 I got for Christmas of 2021, and I own the whole series. And I have not read any of them yet. And so that was Jade City and Jade War. Jade City is obviously the one that I will be reading, but it is on my nightstand because I've already started it. So yes, again, this is another one that I'm just intimidated by the size, and also because it is so well loved. So yeah, so yes, so those are the 3 books that I would be reading: Jade City, Fool's Quest, Malice. A lot of chunky epic high fantasies. Episode 2 is going to be books from 2022, and that will I'll probably do that in May or June, I'm not 100% sure. And then we'll do a 3rd episode during the 3rd quarter at some point of books from 2023, which was last year, and then like in the final quarter we'll catch up on some of the books that I've hauled this year. So I guess stay tuned. Hello. So it is the 50% update of the first book. Also, I've just eaten an entire Easter egg, so there's chocolate all over my face. So I'm 50% of the way through Jade City by Fauna Lee, and I'm really liking this. I don't think it's going to be a 5-star. Like 50% prediction would be 4. Like I don't see it going lower than that. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like solid 4. And I don't really think I can see it going higher. Like it could potentially, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like middle 4. But I can definitely see books further on in the series getting a 5. I'm starting to really like the characters, but I'm not quite like 100% attached yet. Whereas like by the second book and third book, I'm sure that I will be really emotionally invested in them and their story. But like even now I enjoy them, I'm intrigued by them, and like the family dynamic and all that, it's really complicated, and everything else I think is brilliant. Like the world, the writing, the action, all of that I think is incredibly done. But I am a character driven reader, so like it is the characters that are holding me off from being like really in love with the story. But as I said, I can definitely see me loving them in future books. But anyway, so this book 1 in the Greenbone Saga, and I will say, I guess the synopsis that I heard, I always thought you would be following like these 2 warring families, and it's not. It is actually only one that you're following. And so we are following this one family, and it's mostly 3 siblings, but like also like some other kind of like members of the family and friends and people that are close to them basically. And basically they have been at peace for a long time, but one of the other clans is starting to kind of affect the distribution of jade, and jade is getting into the hands of people who should not be able to wield it, and they are now able to wield it because of this drug. And so a war is coming because these 2 clans are fighting about it. And as I said, I am really enjoying it. I'm really loving the politics and the world, and just like it's really intricate, and she really thought it out very well, and everything is like so perfectly explained. And I think like the few action scenes we've had, it hasn't been super action packed so far. I'm pretty sure, I have a feeling it might get more so in the second half, because it's more like the small political maneuverings rather than like the big action fights. But I can definitely see some of them potentially coming, and yeah, and really enjoy that. And also the characters, like it's hard because characters don't have to be perfect, and I think sometimes it's like it's good for characters to have flaws, but it's strange because the flaws that these characters have are make them unlikable. So like let's just say it is very like a lot of the roles are very traditional, like very gender traditional, and there's a lot of like misogyny from the men, but like it's very casual. Like it's not like they're outright being like, you're a woman so you mean nothing, but it's just like in the slight differences of their behavior and all this, and like they don't realize it. And like on the one hand, that's like so much more realistic of a flaw for someone to have. You know, like other heroes, like, you know, their flaws are like something like that like can actually be twisted into kind of a good thing, whereas like their flaws and like how they kind of treat people and like how some people are just disposable to them are like actual flaws. It's a lot of like really complicated dynamics there, and I really like that. I really enjoy her point of view because she is like, she spent her whole life basically fighting to prove herself to be one of them, and now she's kind of like, is that what I want? And then she's like, oh, but now am I just throwing away all my hard work if I don't just give in and do exactly what they expect of me? And so I'm really enjoying like all of that stuff. I finished Jade City. I don't have it with me. It's over there. I'll hold up Jade Boar instead. I'll just hold up these 2 instead. I finished Jade City last night. And see, I have some nitpicky things, and so I'm like, am I just being nitpicky? Like, I think I'm just being nitpicky. I think it's a 5-star. I think it's a 5-star, guys. It's almost as if you shouldn't have put off reading this book for 3 years. What an insane thought. Okay, in fairness, it's 2.5 years. It's so good. It was so good. As I said, I do have some issues with it, but like having issues with a book doesn't mean that it's not 5 stars, because overall I think it was so well done. I think my main issues, I can't really talk about my main issues with it because of the fact, like, I feel like, number one, it would spoil things, and in fairness, I think, and this is what I'm coming back to, is I think I'm being nitpicky because I'm sure this stuff will come back, but it just means that like it's not like a full satisfying story, but it's a 3-book long series. So like all of these issues and like little plot lines and stuff, like they're gonna come back around. So like I'm trying not to be like, as I said, I'm trying not to be nitpicky about them, and overall I did really enjoy them. I will say like the one thing that is like that also kind of held me back is that I still don't feel really connected to the characters, and usually I do have to give a book a 5 stars, but I did definitely start to come around to them more as the book went on. I do know people really love Hilo, and I just don't really get it. I mean, like, I like him, I'm intrigued by him as a character, but I find a lot of the side characters and the other 2 point of views much more intriguing to me. Like that did also kind of pull me back. Is like I don't necessarily need to like 100% root for the characters, but I do like to like my characters. I know some people don't need that whatsoever, but I do, and I don't need it, but I much prefer it, and I will overall love a book a lot more usually if I love the characters, if I connect to them, if I feel for them. And with the characters in here, I like them. I thought they were very well written. I thought they were very complicated. I thought they were all very intriguing. I'm intrigued to know more about them, to see how their stories continue, but I can't necessarily say that I loved them like as characters. I was just like intrigued, like impressed by how they were written, but I didn't necessarily love them, which, as I said, I think that's also why I kind of like hesitated at first to give it the full 5 stars. It's because I didn't like really love them, but I think overall I am going to give it the 5 star because I did. Everything else is so brilliant, and even the characters have definitely grown on me a lot. I am a lot more intrigued about their stories, and just, as I said, it is a really impressive world that she has created, and like this is her adult debut. It is so impressive to say that. Like I think she wrote 2 YAs before this, but like this is a really impressive adult debut. Like it's so well thought out. There's so much like intricate plot and like the politics and like putting all of the chess pieces into place, and like writing realistic characters with flaws and hopes and desires. And like I'm kind of doubting myself that I know what a 5 star is anymore. I've only had one this year, which is Sword Heart. I literally just filmed my haul, so I have it right here. It's like this is my only 5 star so far this year, and now Jade City. And so like I don't really know, like the other 5 stars I've given were my rereads of Course of Dragons, which like I'm obsessed with those characters, so of course. And then like this one, like again, like I was like obsessed with the characters, like giggling, but again I had nitpicky things that I like had problems with in this. So like it's not as though like I didn't have problems with this. I did have a couple of small ones, just like I had a couple of small ones with Jade City. And so I think I'm kind of like doubting my own ratings at this point. I'm like, is it a 5 star? How do I know? But I think it is. But it is, because I think when I read it, on the one hand, I didn't want to put it down, especially after my last update. Something happened, which I will say I did kind of see it coming. I think if you don't see it coming, it could be a real shock. But I did definitely see it coming. But it definitely changed the landscape, and it really amped things up. And I did like really start enjoying it way more. I didn't want to put it down, but also I kept putting it down because I didn't want it to finish. Despite the fact I know I have 2 more books in the series, but like, yeah, I had such a good time. I can't believe I put this off for so long. Oh, I put it off for so long, guys. A quick update yesterday. So obviously, you know, however long ago, finished Jade City, great, whatever. And I don't know, I like had built myself up to starting Fool's Quest, because basically I'm afraid of that book. It was like the longer I waited, the less, it's not that the less I want to read it, because I do want to read them because I love that series so much, but it's more like without the momentum, I don't want to read the end. I don't want it to end. And so having it in this limbo is like, it's a safe place. I want to reread the books, especially the first trilogy, because like it's funny because like it's actually the trilogy that I've given the lowest ratings to, I think, but I would still consider it actually my favorite series out of all 5 of them. So I want to reread those, and on the one hand, like, I mean, I could technically do it anyway, But I'm like, then am I going to wait until I reread literally every other single book before I finally get to Postgres and Sans Fate? Because like that sounds like something I do. Basically, I spent like 3 hours or 4 hours yesterday building up the courage to finally start that book, and I did it. And I was getting ready to start. I checked SCRIBD, it was still unavailable, which I kind of already knew, so that was fine. I even went on the website to see if like, because like I know when they switched from like SCRIBD to Everend, like some things went away, some things came back, like it's a bit of a mess. But no, it's still unavailable. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I kind of knew that was going to happen. I have an Audible credit. I didn't want to use it, but I will. It's not on Audible. Where is it? I don't know. Fool's Assassin? There. Assassin's Fate? There. Fool's Quest? Not there. It's just not there. My library doesn't have any of them. So yeah, Spotify does have it, but Spotify you only get 15 hours of listening. The audiobook is 33 hours long, so I don't want to do that either. Obviously, like if it's a last resort, I will. Like I want to read that book. I want to read that book so bad, but I'm gonna wait and hope that the audiobook comes back. Maybe, you know, they're editing it or something like that. Maybe there's something up with it, so we'll see. But anyway, all of this to say, I started Kingsbane because I want to read 3 books, and I didn't want to read Jade War because like I already read Jade City, so I was like, I don't want to read 2 books from the same series. So that only left this as an option, and I'm quite enjoying it actually. I'm sure I started this video saying I'm probably going to unhaul it at the end of the year. I'm 225 pages in, and like it's not a 5-star, but like it's probably going to be a 4, like a solid 4. I'm having a good time. Like it's really quick to read. I was surprised how easily I fell back into it, because I thought like, I think I read the first book in 2021. I thought there was no way I would, even with reading a summary, I thought no way, but no, I fell right back into it. I overall really enjoy it. I'm liking the development of certain characters more in this book. I'm enjoying us kind of seeing how things got the way that they are in the world. But I will say the big thing with this is there is 2 timelines. I haven't actually told you what the first book is about. There's 2 timelines, and I do think that the author struggles to keep both of them interesting at different times. I think in the first book, my opinions were I preferred the characters of the earlier timeline, and I preferred the plot of the second one. And with this one, it's not necessarily the same. It's more, it changes. So this follows 2 women, like 1,000 years apart. So we follow Riel, and she basically unleashes this power, and there is a prophecy that there will be a Sun Queen and a Blood Queen. One will destroy the world, one will save it, and she basically has to undergo some trials to prove that she is the Sun Queen who will save the world. And then in the present timeline, we follow Eliana, and she is just like fighting to survive. The world is not what it once was, and you know, she might also be a part of this prophecy. It's like you know from the start that she's the other one, but whatever. And yeah, so I'm having a good time. Hello. So number one, I'm not sure, can you notice a quality difference? I am filming this on my new phone, which I impulse purchased, but also the lighting is not very good, so like the quality is still pretty bad. But like when I film with actual good lighting, maybe then you'll notice a difference. But anyway, I finished Kingsbane by Claire Grant, and I'm giving this a 4-star, which I think based on my first update you would have guessed. Well, second update, whatever, you would have guessed. But I will say it was a lower 4-star than I originally anticipated. Because like when I started it, I was like so pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh my god, like I really got sucked back into the writing, the world, and I was just having a really good time. And like I did overall like it, but I would say like the first half was like high 4-star, like solid, like it was really solid 4. And then the second half was like a high 3, low 4, so like it's still coming out of the 4, but like the second half did not keep the same momentum. And like that's not saying that like it got worse, it's more that it just kept doing the same things over and over again, and it got very repetitive. And so like I feel conflicted about this book because on the one hand I think it was too long, and on the other hand there was some stuff that really lacked development and needed to be longer. And so I'm like, I wanted to be longer and shorter because there were just, as I said, it's hard to talk about it because it's the second book in the series and all of that, but like there are plot points that are just the same again and again and again and again. And like, our character does this thing, the character gets told not to do this thing, character does it anyway, character has to explain themselves, begs for forgiveness, is forgiven, character does it again. And then like in the other plot line it's the same, it's character doesn't want to do this thing, character does this thing, and it got annoying. I wanted to cut some of that out because some of it felt really unnecessary. And then there were just like character moments, character development and relationships, like there was friendships and romantic relationships and all this, where I'm like, am I forgetting the first book that much? Like, you know, maybe there was like these small like little intimate moments, but I'm like, no, because at the start of the book it wasn't like that. And I'm like, no, it did just happen in like the last 50 pages. Where did that come from? I don't know. The other thing is like, I was really excited to read kind of like a corruption arc, especially in YA. I would say this is like upper YA. But like I was excited to read that because like that's something I guess you don't really see that much in YA anyway. So I was excited to read that, but like it's not really corruption. It's more, oh, this character, like, yeah, it's not this character is becoming corrupt, it's this character is an idiot. I'm also excited to see where the final book goes because there's like one scene in the second half that I was like, so yeah, so I'm excited to see how everything plays out. So I have one book left to read, which is Malice. Hello. So it has been a while since I updated. Has it? Yeah, I started reading other books. I don't know why, but I procrastinate so much on videos. And then I wonder why I can't get a video up every week. It's because I'm not reading the books, and you need to. Anyway, this is going to be a really short one because I don't really have much. I should tell you what I'm reading. Malice by John Gray. I don't really have much to say. In fairness, the synopsis is very vague. I've always just heard it like described as, oh, there's this prophecy, giants are like coming back. And I've only ever really heard people talk about one character, which is Corbin, which I see why. He is the most interesting character. He feels like the character that you get the most of, the most development of. But like, there's so many characters. I like, okay, there's like, I don't know how many point of views. There feels like there's a lot, but there's probably actually not that many. But there's like a decent amount. I'd say probably 5, which in fairness, at least that means I can take off that prompt for our fantasy this year, the bingo. Because I'm pretty sure there's over 5. Confused about my feelings is honestly how I feel. Because I was talking about characters. I think there's a lot of them, which we'll get back to, but like for the first third maybe I was really struggling, I thought, with just like certain things, and like the amount of characters, and it all felt very disconnected. Even now it still feels pretty disconnected. Like there's all of these characters, all these different parts of the world, but they haven't fully connected yet. Like, yeah, we've now started to kind of get more references to each other, but like it took a long time for that to start happening. And so it felt very different. It felt like different, like multiple different stories happening in the one book. I will say, this is a debut. I didn't know that it's a debut, but like thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. But I think there's some issues with the world building. He decided not to info dump, which impressive, good job. But he also, it means he's like holding on to information until he's like, oh, they don't know this thing. And so he has to like figure out a way to put it in. And so it means that like we're not getting the full picture. He has the full picture. I don't. And so that was really bothering me for, I would say, as again, maybe like the first third. And then I just kind of switched my brain off. I was like, I'm going to just go along with the ride. And I'm really enjoying it now. And as I said, if I stop and think critically about it, I have problems and I think they're valid criticisms. But if I stop trying to think critically and just go along with it, I'm having a lot of fun with this book. I am enjoying it overall. But as I said, that's not usually the way I read like epic adult fantasy. Epic adult fantasy is usually the kind of books that I do really like turn on my brain. Like I like really want to like analyze and like figure things out and all this. And like, the way that this is written, I don't think that makes it the most enjoyable. Maybe on reread, but like, because he is like holding back so much information from us as readers, I don't think it makes it the most enjoyable. But yeah, so like, I'm just like vibing is basically the bottom line. So like, I'm having a good time. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a 4, but yeah, it's weird because I don't usually read, like, as I said, I don't usually read epic fantasy like this, like cozy fantasies or like romance or anything, like basically anything else. Like, I'm fine just like turning off my brain. My main issues is there's a lot of characters, and I think a lot of them, like especially side characters, don't have a lot of definition. Like, I'm like, I don't know who you are. And even like some of the main characters, I'm like, which one are you? As I said, Corbin is definitely like the one that is like at this point the most developed, the most kind of stand out, and I am enjoying him. I'm also enjoying the other point of views, but it usually takes me a little bit to be like, okay, what are you up to? And then yeah, I've already told you about the world building. Again, like, it's not, I don't think it's bad world building. It is good. It has a really solid foundation. Like, he has very clearly thought things out. It's just like trying to like weave that in, I think he was struggling with, which I'm sure like as I read like more books by him, and like especially since a lot of them are in the same world and stuff, all of that will fix itself. That's all for now. Look at the state of my hair. Anyway, that's not important. Oh yes, I'm here to finish up this reading vlog. And yeah, so I finished Malice by John Gwynne, and I'm giving it 4 stars. It's kind of a lower 4-star than I anticipated. Like, it's kind of just like squeaked in there. Yeah, I thought this was gonna be like a really high 4-star because like, in fairness, I very rarely give that 5 stars. Obviously, we have seen an exception in that in this video, but especially like first books in the series very rarely hit 5 stars. So good for you, Jade City. You're a rarity. So I didn't really expect this to be a 5-star, but I expected it to be like really high 4-star. Like, could not wait to continue the series. And while I am excited to continue the series, yeah, I am excited because I have a feeling, well, I'm a bit nervous because I've seen a lot of people saying this is their best book in the series, but also I feel like a lot of those people are people that I don't necessarily agree with all of the time. So I'm gonna remain optimistic. Kind of the stuff that I already spoke about that remained true throughout the rest of it. Like, I just never fully got invested in all of the other characters. I just don't really care about them. I think they had moments where I was like, ooh, interesting, like, but it just never fully got there. Whereas like Corbin, like his point of view, yeah, that was like a high 4-star. Like, I really enjoyed his point of view, learning about his area, how they work, how they function, all of this stuff, him interacting with all of these different people. But like the others were like 3 stars. So yeah, so Corbin really saved the book. I feel like it was a lot of setup, and it just, as I said, everything I said in the last bit, whereas like I just thought like some of it was kind of clunky. Like, it really took a while for us to get the world building because he was like trying to find good ways to squeeze it in, instead of like, sometimes it is okay to info dump. Like, I appreciate you not, but like also sometimes it's fine. I do think it was a bit of a setup book, so I think we could definitely see a lot of development of all of this stuff in the future books, because we really, as I said, we really, like, by the end, I do think I had a really good understanding of like all of these clans, how it works, all of like the political things at play. Maybe not 100% how the giants really play into it, like a little bit, but like I'm not 100% there, that plot line yet. As I said, I do really like Corbin. Towards the end, some of the other characters kind of started to have their moments, so potentially could end up really enjoying their points of view in future books. And yeah, so like, I think I started to get more intrigued, but like, it took, you know, nearly 600 pages for me to get there, which isn't ideal. But I'm probably gonna, my birthday is in May, so I'm probably gonna like ask my parents to get me the rest of the series, because why not? So yes, so that brings us to the end. So I read 3 books in this vlog. It wasn't the 3 I originally set out to read, but 3 anyway. Did I? I have no idea. I gave that 5 stars. Then I read Kingsbane. I gave that a 4-star. And then I read Malice, and I also gave that a 4-star. So overall, like, a really successful vlog, because like I feel like a lot of the time I do a vlog and there's always like a book that I hate or something. Like, it's good. And it's like, maybe, just maybe, you should read all of the books you've bought, because those are the ones you're most excited for. Fascinating stuff. So yes, and thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.